I got stuff for you.
Holy moly. I need to get some snakes and release them around my house.
But they love eating people. They love eating kids.
These guys are the scientists of the supernatural, lecturers leaving lessons for inquiring laymen. They are applying the scientific method to a world that baffles science. They are the cryptids of the corn.
Every day that you open your mouth,
I know, right?
I'm more convinced that you're abducted by aliens.
No.
And it just stood up. I mean, it just like kept going and going. And she goes, what the?
These are idiots.
I was laughing reading this because I already knew how you would feel.
Idiot. What part of the story fits your balloon?
Well,
This isn't a UFO. But who else has big black wings and red eyes?
Batman.
Well, Mothman.
Oh, yeah, Mothman.
Well, everyone, I think we know exactly what it is. So say it all with me. It was the sandhill crane.
Would you try it?
No.
You wouldn't eat it?
No.
Why?
Because they're probably toxic. There'd be a lot of poop in my pants. I've seen a 6-foot alligator go swinging through the air and slam into a tree.
Welcome back. Oh, yeah, brother.
Uh-oh.
To Cryptids of the Corn podcast. Yeah.
Macho Man Randy. I'm trying to work E into it, but I can't.
I am the great and powerful Macho Mr. E.
Macho Mystery, yes. Good. Oh, Macho Mystery. That's pretty good. And I'm Jay Clone, 42.
Oh, yeah, brother.
So what you gonna do?
We're going to wrestle up a sea monster today.
Oh, I like wrestling.
All right, that's it for my that voice.
It hurts.
Is already. I don't know how he could do that forever. That's why he always looked like he was in pain.
Because he was.
Yeah,
It was.
emotional pain.
That's true, too.
All right. So before we get into today's topic, I have some stuff for you guys.
I like stuff.
I got stuff. This is one of those episodes I talked about it on Cryptids and Coffee this morning. That. What are you doing? Oh,
Just reminding.
oh, I got you.
Cryptids and Coffee. You said this morning.
Yeah, calm down over there, Spanky. What was I saying? Now you got me all thrown off.
You said
were
this morning-
waving around garlic at me.
You were talking about Cryptids and Coffee.
So at Cryptids and Coffee, that I was doing the research for this episode, and the first topic fell apart, and then the second topic kind of fell apart, and this is the third one, and it's going to be definitely a relaxed fit episode.
Okay. Ooh, like a nice shirt.
Yeah, I stole that from last podcast on the left because that's what they call them when they.
Oh, relaxed fit?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because it just was like one of those nights. My dad has been in the hospital all weekend. We had our gender reveal party for the twins. It was just a lot this weekend.
A lot going on. Busy.
So we're having a relaxed episode.
It's like Freaky Fun Fridays.
But let's get to my front of house stuff because there'll be our next 3 or 4 Wednesdays is all interviews.
Yeah. We didn't really get into that too much, did we?
Yeah, there won't be a lot of in front of house for those. So real quick, conferences. Frogman should be next weekend, I think, by the time this comes out.
What is it, March 4th?
Actually, it is this weekend.
Okay.
It is this weekend.
Is that the day of the conference, March 4th?
Something like that. Whatever.
The first Saturday in March. First Saturday in March.
Yeah, I think it's the second, actually.
No, I think it's the first. March 2nd. March 2nd is Frogman
That's
Fest.
what I just said. I think it's the second, actually. And you said, no, it's the fourth.
I think you meant second weekend. Sorry.
No. Anyways.
March 2nd, Frogman Fest,
Frogman Fest.
Loveland, Ohio.
If you guys are coming, let us know. We're going to do Friday night at the Monkey Bar. Come hang out with us. Have a couple drinks, have some fun. It's a cool place, a local place. And then we're going somewhere on Saturday local to the Frogman Festival down in downtown Loveland. We'll probably try to drink or hang out and eat right on the river so I can show you. And we may even walk around and I'll show you where some of the Frogman sightings took place.
Sweet.
We go to that chicken restaurant that's not there anymore.
They stole my chicken.
Stole my chicken. But yeah, and then Encounter Quest, you can get your tickets below. We're MCing. We're also doing the Friday night Bigfoot casting. Please get in on that. You want to learn how to cast a footprint, to the best of our abilities in case you do come across some Bigfoot evidence or some other cryptid evidence. We'll be teaching that. I think it's like $10 or $15. It's really,
It's
an
worth
affordable
it.
price because you're just paying for your materials.
And we're put on an entertaining seminar.
Oh, yeah, we're going to be idiots. Don't worry. We'll be-
Hands on.
Next thing, Kickstarter. Middle of March is coming out. 60 days to fund the Trainees Help Giant Salamander Hunt. We have an amazing crew put together. We have biologists. We have us. We have professional nature documentarians. We have treasure hunters. We have underwater photographers.
Stay tuned for that
Jay
Kickstarter.
bought ROV, a submersible.
Yep. It's gonna be nuts. It's gonna be groundbreaking. It's gonna be
I really think we can
life
fight it.
changing. Yes.
And those salamanders need protection.
Yes.
literally-
that's whose lives we're changing.
I mean, they're literally, in my opinion, probably on the verge of extinction due to the expansion into their habitat. Where they were originally discovered is gone, and the fringes of their habitat are being eaten up.
So stay tuned for our Kickstarter to further explain all of this in greater detail.
All right, I got to talk about merch for a second.
Merch.
We have our merch shop with all of our amazing t-shirts. Hoptail Goblin, Sam the Sundown Clown, and the Uinta Basin t-shirts are the newest ones added. But that's just the U.S. shop. Now, if you go on to the shop and you'll see that it'll say U.S. shop. Now, why does it say just U.S. shop? You keep scrolling. There's a U.K. shop,
Oh,
and that's Libby helped me with that. So she got our first t-shirts in the U.K. So if you're in the UK, please only buy from the UK shop, because I will cancel your order if you try to buy from the American shop, because it's like $200 at shipping. Same if you're in Australia or near Australia, like Tasmania or New Zealand,
use the UK shop.
use the Australian shop.
Oh, we got the Australian shop too.
Yes. So please use your appropriate shop. And then if you're in Canada, we have a Canadian shop.
Wow. All right.
So yeah, and if you're somewhere else and you really want a t-shirt, I could add a t-shirt. But those are where I looked at our demographics, and those are our core listening countries.
All right.
So there's an Australian shop, there's a UK shop, and there's a Canadian shop. Use your appropriate shop. What else was I going to say in regards to that? If there's an art, so I haven't added a lot to the 3 international shops yet. If you want an art on a certain piece of clothing, just message me and I can add it. But literally, there's tens of thousands of products, so it's really hard. I'm a little overwhelmed by adding stuff. So just tell me what you want, and I'll add it.
We'll put it on there.
That's the easiest way for me. And my last little thing is Patreon and paid members space. If you guys want to support us and get some extra content, those are the best ways. We do hangouts. We're actually planning a in-person salamander hike this fall for our Patreon and paid members. They can sign up and go. It's a camping trip to Smoky Mountain National Parks to do a wildlife hike for a weekend.
The most biodiverse place in the world for amphibians.
Yes. I think
In case
those
you
are
didn't know that.
Those are all my front of house things. All the links for all that stuff will be below. Please, if you can support, we enjoy doing this, and we thank you guys for letting us do this.
Yeah.
All right, you ready for?
Let's dive into this one.
I'm glad we have a $1,000 soundboard I never touch a button on.
What do you mean? Oh, you want to have
I make the noise.
Yeah, we are the soundboard. I am the soundboard.
Too bad. Oh, what's the cop from the
Michael Winslow.
Michael Winslow's not here. Radar.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna talk about some monsters. I want to see if you can guess what animal we're actually probably talking about.
Oh.
Mysterious sea. The first part of the article we're going to use is mysterious sea monsters of Monterey Bay. Within the U.S. state of California, just south of major cities of San Francisco and San Jose, lies the scenic Monterey Bay, which has one of the best aquariums in the world.
Wow. Oh, really?
Monterey Bay Aquarium and Research Center. With one of the highest levels of marine biodiversity in the country, with its many quaint towns, outdoor activities, plentiful wildlife, and splendid, sprawling natural vistas, the bay draws in droves of scientists and tourists year-round. Yet in addition to this, Monterey Bay also has its share of unexplained mysteries, which makes a lot of sense. The trench is really close to the shoreline right there, so you can get updrift species and all kinds of just weird little pop-up stuff.
Like those big eel. What are those fish?
Oarfish.
Oarfish, yeah.
Yeah. Certainly ranking high among these are the reports over the years of mysterious sea monsters prowling the depths of this area. Which, as far as you're looking for a sea monster, would make sense. It's a high biodiverse area with a lot of wildlife. So, yeah, sea monsters. Tales of something strange lurking in Monterey Bay have been reported since at least the 1900s, when sailors and fishermen in the area began making sightings of what they would eventually call Bobo.
Oh, no.
Or the Old Man of the Sea.
Oh, okay.
Why would... Oh, no, for Bobo.
Because that's the name of... I think the movie's called Double Dragon. And Bobo's like the henchman. And he's a big... Scary mutant looking guy.
Yeah. Okay, so which most often is described as a massive seal-like creature with a strikingly simian or human-looking face.
Like an engine.
Ooh, yeah, like an engine. Kinda. This is much more seal-like, though, much more blubbery and huge.
Okay. Oh, sorry. His name was Bobo.
Oh, no, this is just Bobo.
And he looks like this. Is this what that creature looked like?
Yes. Yeah, it's an audio podcast. Thank you, Jerry,
Well,
for sharing
you're
pictures.
confused. They heard the name Bobo, Double Dragon.
Yeah,
there you
pull
go.
your car over.
Yeah, pull your car over. Google Bobo, Double Dragon. There you go.
One of the earliest accounts of this creature, or something looking very similar to it, was in 1922 by a fisherman named Sal Caliato, who was aboard of a 45-foot sardine fishing rig, the Danta Elaruta, near Monterey Bay, some distance off the place called Moss Landing, when he noticed something odd bobbing about in the water that he first looked like a piece of debris or possibly even a man floating in the ocean.
Okay.
So he sees this thing floating over there, and he starts getting close. He's kind of worried it's a guy, which, when you're that far out, it would probably not be the best thing for the guy in the water.
No.
As he approached to investigate it, Carlito claimed that he could see it was no hunk of floating garbage nor a man, but rather a mysterious marine creature. Its head was the size of a 50-gallon barrel
Okay.
with a bulging forehead and a wide face. Carlito would keep his story to himself for some time. So that's his first kind of encounter. Just the head of this thing, which is huge.
Right, big 50-gallon drum. So
Yeah.
there's the big metal burn barrels you
Like
see.
a trash can or whatever
Yeah.
now would be, people when they buy trash cans, it's like 32-gallon and
So
I think
the big
I think
ones.
50 gallons is the big ones.
Yeah, we're talking the big suckers. Yeah, like burn barrel.
Yeah. So Carlito would keep himself, keep this to himself. But mainly, he's seen another sea monster in 1938 in this same general vicinity while aboard his boat along with his brother-in-law. The scenario was very similar to the first time. On this occasion, they both saw something bobbing outside along the waves and went to investigate it. They reportedly pulled up to within 50 feet of it. They noticed that it was a sea creature that likes of which had never been seen before. He described it as being around 45, or being as long as a 45-foot boat and covered in thick, wrinkly brown skin. But most startlingly details was the face. It said it kind of looked like a monkey or an old man.
Oh.
Interestingly, though, the creature did not even seem to notice the fishing boat and appeared to be merely floating on its back with its eyes closed as if it was in sleeping or relaxing posture of that of a seal. Or not a seal, a sea otter.
Basking in the sun.
Because they kind of sleep like that. After a few minutes, though, it reportedly suddenly opened its huge pink eyes. It glared at the startled crew before emitting a loud snort or a blow and disappearing below the calm surface of the water. And how he kind of describes it is it just sank. It didn't take off or nothing. It went, it woke up like, oh.
Yeah.
Now, those are important clues for what this animal may be.
Okay. I got some ideas in my head.
Do you?
Yeah, do you guys need me to guess now or wait?
You know what? Let me read a little bit more and I'll let you guess.
All right.
Because there's maybe a piece of information that you're missing.
Okay.
Having seen the beast, or from at least two different strange creatures in the same area, Carlito became rather obsessed with finding it again. But he never did make another sighting. However, in the wake of his report, other fishermen and boaters began to report seeing something strangely odd in these waters as well, usually making mention of its long body with fin or flippers and a humanoid or kind of ape-like face. Was often described as looking sad or forlorn. And some of the reports said that it had some kind of like mane of red hair around its head or around its neck. In one such case, in 1939, a fisherman aboard the boat of the Albacore fishing boat in Santa Ana were in the Monterey Bay and were approached what they thought at first was a huge log in the water, which was actually a huge log in the water, which they actually reported poking the fisherman with a gaff. The other one to find out it was a normal seal-like beast, 50 times larger than an elephant seal, with the face of that of a gorilla. So they see this thing low, and it's floating there again. And then they think it's a log. They get up close to it, and it seems like it's dead again, or sleeping.
Yeah.
They poke it with a fishing gaff, which is a sharp hook, and it promptly wakes up.
I imagine.
Promptly. There's many possibilities of this, what this old man of the sea could be, such as an elephant seal, an oversized salmon, or a rare deep sea oarfish.
Wait, an oversized what?
Salmon. That's not mine. This is the article.
Okay.
It's not a salmon.
Yeah. Okay.
One part I did leave out is even though this had a strangely humanish face, they all reported it almost had a trunk-like nose.
Okay.
Not as dramatic as an elephant seal,
No, more like an okapi.
even kind of less than that.
Okay, more like
A very
a
flexible
taper.
face.
Like a taper.
A very flexible face.
A sea taper.
A sea taper, you got it.
I knew it. It's too easy.
Right
Next.
So
Next.
before I go on, I have some. I have a hodgepodge of cases before I reveal who I think is responsible for these sea monster sightings.
Okay.
Do you have a guess?
My first guess was sea lion or elephant seal
That's a good guess.
because it's got this kind of nose space.
Yeah. No, it's. And we've talked about supersized pinnipeds,
Yeah.
which is seals. Everybody at home, a pinniped is the seal family. The elephant seal is the largest member of the seal family, and they're already huge. But there is kind of this long-necked pinniped. Is one of these thoughts we talk about with sea monsters, these water horse type things.
Yeah.
The mane can kind of point to that. For me, it's not that.
Okay.
And I may be hiding stuff from you.
Oh, wait. Also.
No, you only got one guess.
Well, that
this-
wasn't
each
it.
section.
That wasn't it.
No, you got to wait till the next one.
That wasn't my guess, though. I said I thought it could have been.
You got to wait till the next monster, and then you can give a guess again.
Fine.
Sucks to suck.
Well, yes.
I can't remember who commented this on the season opener, but I muted you for some reason. I don't even remember.
Yeah.
I was at the very end when it was your turn to give what happened, and you started talking about they were just drunk or something like that to screw with me, and I just muted you.
Yeah.
Everybody said it was the funniest thing. Because it sounds like we're like 100 miles apart.
Right,
even
yeah.
though we're sitting next to each other. All right. Next thing we're going to talk about, we talked about this with Michael, which you should hear from next week. The Glacier Island carcass.
Ooh.
So, cryptotourism has been in play for ages, especially highlighted by such sites as Loch Ness in the boast of Nessie. Smaller examples are the monsters in play, such as the Lizard Man of South Carolina in Tahoe, Tessie. So basically, it's saying that there's these spots that are cryptid famous, and people go there just to see them. Point Pleasant is this article's a little older. Point Pleasant's kind of the big one I can think of for the U.S. right now.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Folk, Arkansas used to be, and it still gets plenty of visitors. Don't get me wrong. And the town of Folk is great. There's Bigfoot barbecues right next to the museum.
But Mothman's built. That town is built around Mothman.
I just love Arkansas because it's literally Bigfoot barbecue is like a cinder block half hut.
Okay.
And it's great.
Okay.
The foods are great. And just because it's right next to the Bigfoot Museum, which is a gas station,
Yeah.
and that's the town.
Good old Arkansas.
And that's the town. But yeah, so it's just saying, yeah. So before this, Glacier Island's monster was one case that turned up from old books of Charles Fort. According to these cases, a carcass of colossal, fur-bearing, almost reptilian-featured animal was discovered in Alaska's Bering Glacier Island. This creature was discovered as being about 42 feet in length, with about a 6-foot head, a 20-foot-long body, and 16 feet of tail.
Jeez.
It is also reported that the carcass was in excellent condition, thus credited with the preservation of the Arctic environment. For those who first encountered this, or consider this almost an unanonymous, laying before them, embedded in a block of ice. So it wasn't a free-floating carcass; it was frozen in ice.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, before I continue, how could that have happened? Right? We kind of get the cartoony show you frozen in ice. It's hard. It's hard to end up frozen in ice before scavengers pick you apart.
Right.
What most likely happened with this animal is it got stuck in the Bering Sea somewhere. So what happens with air-breathing animals specifically, what reptile, mammal, doesn't matter, is that there's recently, just now, a pod of orcas that got trapped. And the ice closes in around them, and they can't take a breath long enough to make it to open water.
Yeah.
And they kind of die and float up against the ice that's forming, and they can get frozen in that chunk.
Okay.
So that's how this animal could have ended up in a chunk of ice if it got trapped right next to the Bering Sea and ice formation. Just wanted to say that out there because that's one thing that never gets explained very well. They just saved those whales, though. So everybody's...
Oh, good.
They
Good ending to that story.
They took an icebreaker out and made
Broke
a
it
path
up.
to it and then
Good.
made a path out.
You think is this before or after the killer whales were like going nuts and
Different ocean,
oh okay,
different group of whales.
gotcha. I just thought they all were bad and a temper at this point.
No, just that one small group, and they hate sailboats,
Good.
which is good. It's also reported the carcass. Oh, I already read that. In excellent condition. Laying before them, embedded in a block of ice, lies a monster from another age. It's quoted on November 26th in the New York Times article. The theory has been advanced that the carcass is that of a prehistoric animal or reptile that has been preserved in the upper reaches of the Columbian glaciers. Most Alaskans, as well as many other individuals worldwide, were understandably skeptical regarding these reports. Their skepticism soon disparted, though, as when the supervisor of the Channahon National Forest, one W.J. McDonald, assembled a 6-man team to mount an expedition for the purpose of finding and identifying this creature, or this carcass. Before I continue, so people are going and seeing this thing. They kind of knew the area it was in, and people would go, and it's a huge animal, a whale-sized animal.
Still sitting in the ice?
Yeah,
Okay.
and it kind of washed up into this bay, and it would get stuck on land and float back out, all that kind of deal. And so people were seeing it.
How did no one just like get a team there and collect it?
Long time ago.
Still, we could do stuff back then.
But it's in Alaska. We still can't get people out to the middle of Alaska.
I guess.
There was just a rescue that failed.
If they wanted to, they could have, though. They could add, like, helicopters or some stuff.
I believe this was, I lost I'll find the date. I think this was like the 1910s.
Helicopters have been around since the 1700s.
My apologies.
Didn't Leonardo da Vinci design a helicopter, like blueprints?
Sure.
I think he did.
Upon the arrival of Glacier Island, McDonald was shocked that anyone to find a large, mysterious corpse, which is described as being shaped unlike any other creature known to exist anywhere in this region. Okay. Very crucial part right there.
In this region.
McDonald
Keyword.
describes the carcass as the creature had a long tail with a tapering head, much like that of a dinosaur.
Taper?
Measurements taken by McDonald's expedition were much more thorough than the previous reports. According to McDonald, the head, which was described as being much more like that of an elephant, was just over 59 inches long. The snout from the center of the forehead to the tip.
Oh, this is okay. I know my next guess.
Was 39 of the inch of the length, and the width of the trunk-like appendage was 11 inches at the midsection, with a circumference of 29 inches.
Dang.
So it has a trunk.
It's a big trunk. It's a thick trunk.
The widest part of the beast carcass was 38 inches, which is a bizarre animal's length was 24 inches, with the tail, or the 14-foot tail that started at the rib section.
Okay.
Personally, I think it was the skin of the animal, and they may have been frozen weird.
And they just accredit it as a
Yeah,
tail.
because it kind of, in their description, it's kind of like this tail starts up at the ribs along the side. But that's just my estimates. You should do me a favor and look up when the Glacier Island carcass was.
Okay.
I can't believe I don't have that here. McDonald's estimated weight of the corpse was approximately 1,000 pounds, described in its flesh as being horse-like, because they ate it.
They
ate some of it.
Okay. This old creature, they ate some of it.
Yeah, so they thawed some out, and they decided it was horse-like. Yes, and it weighed approximately 1,000 pounds. I have no idea how they guessed the weight of a 26-foot-long creature, or 24-foot-long creature, being only 1,000 pounds.
It was probably a lot more than that.
And it tasted like horse, which is a mammal.
I can't. I'm keep finding the date. I'll find it here. Oh wait, right here. Oh wait, Cordova. Here's the newspaper clipping. October 25th, 1930.
Okay, so early 1900s.
Yep.
All right. So let's continue.
Okay.
The descriptions of the creature's trunk-like appendage, fur-covered flesh, and an elephantine skull have led many scholars to believe this animal, which McDonald's team so thoroughly examined, was probably a badly decomposing carcass of a...
Mammoth.
Yes. It was not.
Oh, okay.
In my opinion.
Oh, it was a mastodon.
There you go. No, in my opinion, it probably was not. I think even though... Because everybody said how well preserved it was.
Yeah, you would have had...
So, and then they ate it, okay? So let's say it is badly decomposing, right? Why would you eat it?
Spoiling meat.
They were thawing chunks of it, cutting off and eating it.
Well, don't the French have like some like spoiled meat
These are not
delicacies?
French. These are...
I'm just saying they eat spoiled meat.
Anyway, I'm just saying, that it's just weird that that's kind of the thought is it's a super badly decomposing mammoth carcass.
Oh,
so
let's eat
bad
it.
that people thought it was a marine reptile.
Yeah. That they thought it was half like fur, half lizard. Like, yeah, let's eat it. And
as far as the little fur on the creature, I don't think it had fur. What I think is probably mammals specifically. They have blubber. When it starts to rot a little bit, it kind of shreds to find little fingers that looks like fur.
Yeah.
Like we talked about with Trunco. You know, he's having white fur.
That was my guess.
When it was on the beach. Oh, well, you can still guess it here in a second because you may be right.
Oh, okay. Maybe, which means I'm not.
So there was other accounts, however, which in the state that the Cordova found a glacier island was completely reptilian. And so others assert that it was no discernible head at all and just a trunk-like appendage jutting out of its head like a trunco.
Okay.
So trunco's, reportedly had, just this long trunk, no head. These accounts, along with other reports of the beast's hair-covered torso, seem amazingly similar to the description of the so-called natal carcass, from the commonly referred to as Trunco, as well as mysterious cases of Huber's monster and the Queensland carcass. These animals represent a bizarre form of trunk-bearing marine creature, which has been associated with legends of sea elephants and ancient Hindu myths of the Markata.
I don't know what that is.
Sea elephants.
Oh, okay.
And they say they have sea elephants, which we talked about with the Trunco case too.
Is that why their elephants' ears are so big? Because back in the day, they used them to swim?
Yes. These observations, along with the creature's purportedly dinosaur-like tail, seem to rule out the theory endorsed by many modern scholars that the animal was nothing more than a preserved mastodon. It was MacDonald's belief that the creature was not indigenous to Glacier Island, and the animal became encased in the Columbian Glacier and was carried off to sea, and at which point it was deposited on the Alaskan island. Whatever this creature was, it washed back out to sea soon after its discovery and scientific interest, much of the same in zoologists worldwide. So this is, in my opinion, a real thing that happened because so many eyewitnesses, so many people were going out there and seeing it. It was in this huge chunk of ice.
Yeah, but then it conveniently got washed out to sea and no one ever seen it again.
Yeah. Well, I think it could happen.
It could, but...
It's Alaska in the 30s.
They also could have just harvested it, cut it all up, or burned it.
They could have ate it.
Or ate it all.
I'm like, no carcass left. So, some Trunco connections.
Yeah, very similar.
Some other sea monster connections. And sea elephants is a really weird thought, isn't it?
Uh-oh. What are you leading this into?
Well, I'm just going to keep going until you... What's your one guess for this one?
Well, it was going to be Trunco, but it's not my guess anymore. Now it's a sea elephant. A sea synapsid. Oh, no, wait, not synapsid.
Synapsid?
No, it could be a synapsid. An ancient synapsid.
I think we're all synapsids now.
Well, or a thorapsid, it might have been. Just learned that one the other day. No, what if it is like an ancient synapsid, like a half,
males.
In between, yeah. Got frozen in ice.
So that's, it's...
There's my guess.
I couldn't find where it had reptilian traits, but everybody kept saying it was like a reptile.
Yeah.
But it made no sense to me, especially from the artist drawings and stuff from people that seen it. Didn't look like a reptile. I just don't get where that came from.
Well, I thought it said like scale, like it had scaly skin or something. No, maybe
fur.
Fur. Maybe fur patches, but it's legs and
flippers.
Flippers, yeah, the flippers
didn't have legs.
See, flippers is reptilian.
You're adding stuff to the
See,
thing.
that's how it works. This is all 100 years ago.
So is that your guess for this one?
Synapsid.
Okay. Next one. We're going to revisit Cabadon.
Okay.
Do you remember Cabadon?
No.
Or Cabagon, sorry. Cabagon.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
April 28th, 1974.
Okay.
So this is, the name Cabagon literally means hippo monster in Japanese language. Most notable features of this creature was its large eyes and what they think were nostrils. So this thing, they've seen its head bubbling above the water and seen big eyes and its two big nostrils. Coloration was mostly grayish in general. It seemed like its nostrils were on top of its head, but when we talked about it, its head was probably just sticking straight out. So
gotcha.
That was the end of its face.
Yeah.
It was just pointing straight up.
It's kind of
sea
illusion.
lions and whales and a bunch of marine mammals do that position. So it's not like odd. You don't remember this?
It's not ringing a bell yet.
All right. This was the one where this Japanese fishing vessel near New Zealand seen this monster.
And they tried to
huge thing.
harpoon it.
And they go over to it, and then immediately they start trying to murder it.
Right, yes.
And then it just dived down.
I do vaguely remember that.
Yeah. So that's where Cabagon, that's where its name comes from. The head was about 1.5 meters tall out of the water. The few people that said they seen the body kind of as it was diving said it was almost as large as their 50-foot boat.
Okay, so a big boy.
Yeah, and so they just thought it was some kind of strange animal, and they wanted to eat it really bad.
Yeah, of course.
So yes, what is your guess with that? Big but blubbery, a lot of wrinkles, very, very much that kind of sea mammalian kind of thing, you know, where it's, when we talk about marine reptiles, especially like plesiosaurs and that kind of stuff, as far as we know from the fossil record, they probably did have blubber, but they probably weren't wrinkly. They probably prioritized, being hydrodynamic versus being warm.
Okay.
And we see that with whales too. They can still be smooth and be blubbery.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. So I already guessed like elephant seal, but
I haven't told you if any of your guesses are right or wrong, just so you know.
now I'm kind of more leaning towards like a, well, shoot, even then with the big nose and doesn't explain, I was going to say like a, oh shoot, now I'm blanking on the name. What are the big things that float around the water? You can swim with them, touch them. Not dugongs, but similar. What are they called?
I'm not going to tell you.
What are they
Get it,
called?
you don't get
Why
it.
can't I think of their name? I'm blanking. I can picture them in my head. Manatees.
Yep.
Manatee.
Took you all 3 to get it.
That's what I was just teasing you.
But the problem with the manatee is the size.
And the, just the
Manatees
size
are
in
mostly
general.
freshwater.
Yeah.
Dugons, as far as we know, are exclusively saltwater.
But they have the horn, don't they?
The only... Dugons don't have a horn.
What am I thinking of?
Narwhals.
Narwhals, you're right.
The only true... and we'll talk about all the manatee species. The only true freshwater manatee, is the Amazon manatee.
Okay.
Yeah, so they seem to have a striking resemblance to manatees.
Yeah.
Do you remember any supersized manatees?
Pinky?
Oh my gosh. Stellar Seacows.
Oh, Stellar Seacows, okay.
The whole point of this episode is Stellar Seacows are probably still alive.
All right.
So I have a whole bunch more of just Stellar Seacow sightings.
Okay.
But we'll get there. I want to talk about Sirenians for a second.
Oh, my favorite.
It took
One of my
forever.
favorites.
Man, you normally ruin the ending of these things so fast.
It took me a minute to get there.
So, yes, the Sirenians are vegetarian mammals. They are completely adapted to living in water. In the fossil record, there's evidence of more than a dozen species of Sirenian, but today we have about just 4. Probably actually 5.
Oh.
The West Indian manatee, the Amazonian manatee, the West African manatee, and the dugong. And there are 2, the West Indian manatee and the Florida manatee. The Florida manatee is split into 2 groups. The Florida manatee and the Antillean manatee.
They're subspecies?
Yeah, they're subspecies of each other. So they can't interbreed and stuff. They're just some... but those are both subspecies of the West Indian manatee.
Gotcha.
So before we continue on with the manatee talk, we're going to play our funny little skit for our sponsor of the show, Flavors of the Forest, and we'll leave an ad break after that. So we'll see you guys in a minute. Suey! I got me this hot, fresh squonk steak, but man, it tastes bad. Jay, you got anything to fix this up?
I think you need some seasoning on that squonk fixer up.
Well, what do you got?
How about you try this right here? It's called Bigfoot Breath. Raw garlic seasoning made from fresh garlic.
Give me that. Well, it did make it taste a lot better. Jeez.
Brought that squonk right alive, didn't it?
I'm going to have to kill more squonks to use more of this seasoning.
Oh, how about you try this instead? How about you try my spicy garlic seasoning?
Oh, give it here. Suey! That's good stuff.
Spicy, but not too spicy.
That's perfect. Where can you get these delicacies?
Oh, you can find these on flavorsforest.com. This is our newest spice that just been created, and it's from Flavors of the Forest.
Make sure you all get some at the links down below. We'll catch you. Suey! And we're back. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that.
Yes. I hope so, because I feel dumb.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it so much. Yeah. So back to manatee talk.
Okay, manatees are potentially five different.
Dugongs are the only dangerous one. Dugongs will murder you.
Oh, why?
Because
Bad temperament?
they have to deal with actual predators compared to manatees.
Okay.
Manatees' only real threat is boats and dolphins, and it's really dolphins just kind of kill them for the hell of it sometimes.
Okay, because they're freshwater?
They're mostly freshwater. They still saltwater. They go on the beach and stuff like that. They go into saltwater.
Orcas go after them?
It would be very difficult for manatees. Pretty much go anywhere you can touch. They stay in the rivers and shallow water.
Shallow water.
But dolphins kind of screw with them. I witnessed dolphins beating the heck out of a manatee in Florida one time.
That's just mean.
Yeah, dolphins are not as good as people think. They're like us.
They're like people. I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
Manatees are just, they don't want to bother anybody.
They just want to float in the lazy river.
Yeah. Dugongs have drowned people before. It's either been playing or aggression. They have shown some sexual tendencies towards people as well, as so does dolphins. So dugongs in the wild are nothing to approach.
No.
And they're big. Dugongs are big, but they're very thin and their tails fluked like that of a whale.
Is that the only real Pokemon?
Yes. So they're both marine and freshwater, though. So manatees in general are both marine and freshwater, though Amazonian manatees are the exclusively freshwater and dugongs are the exclusive marine, as far as we know. Saurians are commonly referred to as sea cows as a whole, even though there's only one species of sea cow and the living today, and the other one is the Stellar Seacow, which is quote unquote extinct. So we'll talk about Stellar Sea cows. The existence of Stellar Sea cow dates back to the Pleistocene. It ranges from the Pacific, from Japan to the Baja Peninsula of California. And it's theorized that there is an Atlantic counterpart as well. We just didn't discover it, or it went extinct much faster.
Okay.
Or did it?
Or did it? Yeah, exactly.
Because they killed these things so fast. It was the first discovered and described by science in 1971 by a German naturalist, George Steller. He named everything after himself. During his expedition via the Bering Strait expedition, and the sea is now bears his name. At this time, the population was about 2,000, lived in shallow coastal waters in the northern Pacific. There's some thoughts that the coastal variety of these guys, which is a big important part of this episode, may have already been on its way out.
Okay. When they were first discovered?
Yes.
Okay.
And these large rotund animals traveled in herds of males, females, and juveniles, and were said to be very, very easy to get near. And they were very friendly to humans.
They were.
Yes, and we started stabbing them in the back of the skulls.
Yes.
There's actually some paintings of that, where we'd come up and stab them in the back of the skull, and they would just die.
Good Lord.
Soon after their discovery, fur hunters began to kill these defenseless Stellar Sea cows for their tasty, tasty meat. Most of the people that ate Stellar Sea cows said they tasted like horse.
Uh-oh.
It took 27 years for these to be systematically slaughtered to extinction. From discovery to death.
That's not that long.
No, it's not. No, it's bad. That's a bad number.
Yeah.
At least Stellar Sea cows supposedly died in 1968.
See, it's not even that long ago.
I'm sorry, 1768.
That's
17.
That's a little bit longer ago.
So there's stories of zoologists Stellar Sea cows ended. However, some cryptozoologists think the Stellar Sea cow story just begun there, as sightings of these animals continue on and off for the last 200 years. Residents of the Bering Islands claimed that sea cows were still being killed and eaten as late as the 1770s. A Polish naturalist was certain a sea cow survived on the Bering Islands into the 1830s, and names reported these animals were recorded on the Altitan Islands in the mid-19th century.
I mean, from that time period, that's generational, trauma they're learning, I guess. And this is to know, okay.
Get smart enough to get away.
Humans bad, especially when there's so little of them left. Anytime one comes near, die, I don't know, get out of the way.
Yeah.
Go hide. You're going to get a spear stabbed in the back of your head.
And like I said, there was already some suggestion that the coastal variety was already on its way out.
Yeah.
And that the people kind of just finished it off. So if that's true, what I just said, why are people still seeing them? Let's talk about sea cows for a little bit before I get into some more sightings into modern day. And I mean modern day.
Okay.
And because all the ones I just told you were pretty recent. But just kind of about these guys, because they're huge. You do not realize how big these things are. The most known scientific description of these animals when they're alive comes from George Steller, who gave these animals their common name after his own. He did this to several other animals like the Stellar Sea Eagles, as well as other cryptids like the Stellar Sea Ape. The majority of his findings were conducted during the Vistus Bering voyage, which ended in a shipwreck on the Bering Islands, although Stellar and the remaining crew got out alive by building a new boat out of Stellar Seacow bones.
No, shut up.
I added the last part.
Yeah, as you say. Yeah,
They did survive by eating cows.
I know. I knew immediately you made that up at the very, very end.
The Stellar Seacow belongs to Order Sirenian, which is considered to be a part of the family Dugonidae. Sirenians are related to elephants and shrews. The species was given the scientific name by a Prussian man. I'm trying to get to it. In the 1815 is when they finally got its formal name. The name used to be Hydromyelius gigius. The scientific name was then broken down into Greek and Latin roots. The first hydro means water. The term dilius is translated as tame, and gigas means huge. So water, docile, huge.
Huge.
Most Stellar Sea cows are extremely bulky animals, with them being around 26 to 30 feet on average. With their tail, as far as we know, was much more similar to that of a dugong, being flute.
Okay, gotcha.
There are several skeletons of these guys. Some of the bigger ones we found was right around 9,000 pounds. But we think they got bigger than that. We think some of the older individuals may have been up to 12,000 pounds.
That's a big cow.
Size of a T-Rex. There's a reason they weren't very scared of anything. Orcas would be about it. But these guys lived in giant seagrass meadows and the giant kelp forest. So they're one of the few large-bodied animals that could maneuver in the kelp forest.
Yeah.
So that's how they probably still were docile. Orcas would most time will not go into kelp forest. Neither will great white sharks.
Yeah.
Because it can be a death sentence.
Right, yeah.
When these guys would stay close to the surface and meander very slowly, being able to hold their breaths for long periods of time, and they could essentially eat their way out.
Makes sense.
But yeah, they're pretty much their only...
Wasn't that in the episode of SpongeBob when they got lost with the conch shell? And
yeah, they're in the kelp forest.
Weren't they in the kelp forest? Okay, See? So anything can get lost in there.
As far as we know, the only actual predators were some cetaceans such as orcas. These animals fed, as stated before, on kelp and were moving in small family groups and generally very peaceful creatures, just grazing along the coastal shallow waters. These animals filled the giant herbivore niche that was too large to be bothered by most other animals, except maybe orcas and Pacific sleeper sharks, which we still don't know a lot about those guys.
Yeah, I don't really know.
That's the one that they think was a corkscrew killer, killing all the seals in Alaska that would unravel them.
Oh, okay.
We don't know. They're very slow as far as we know, but there's some evidence they may have great burst of speed, including a polar bear that they had in their stomach that seemed to be a preyed upon polar bear, not a found carcass.
Oh, okay.
So, yes, eating a polar bear is
That's a big deal.
is a tough feat.
So it's like swimming, they think, and it went and swing and grabbed it.
Mm-hmm. Or there's some thoughts there's actually like a crocodile, and it was stationed where the polar bear was diving in and out of the water all the time, waiting for it and grabbed it when it did. They have been a challenge they mostly were challenge for predators due to their buoyancy. They couldn't drown them. That's how orcas drowned a lot of their big prey, is not actually biting, or
Pulling
how they
it
kill
down.
them. They drown them. They exhaust them and drown them.
Yeah.
These guys were very buoyant. Good luck.
It's like pulling a buoy down.
Trying to drown a piece of styrofoam.
Yeah.
The animals might have also been targeted by parasites, such as whale louse, which would have pretty much kept whales, like killer whales, away from them. So they're hard to kill, and they're full of whale parasites.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
ain't worth
no,
eating.
that's not it. And like I said, humans were their demise. Now, do you want to hear some sightings of these guys?
Yes, I do want to hear some sightings.
So let's get into these sightings. I'm ready. I'm ready for you.
So they made it into all kinds of drawings and stuff like that. But yeah, they're still sighted. Let me get to my little section. Reports of these creatures survived past the proposed extinction date and have been brought up in these past years. The more likely accounts come from the 17 and 1800s. However, they may not have survived as a population, but would have still sustained enough animals to exceed this time period. I kind of think the opposite. I think they're still out there, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Reports from the 1900s were even more unlikely, considered that they are likely just seeing elephant seals, which we talked about in the show before. Elephant seals are absolutely massive.
They're big too. Yep.
And they end up in weird places because they're big.
Because they can.
Because they don't care. I guess they same thing. You know, they can get 20 foot long, the big males, but they're also very vocal and they're very boisterous and they don't care if they're seen. This thing seems to be much more shy.
Yes.
And much more quieter. And the blowing that I talked about in that first sighting, when the ship came up on it and went.
I was thinking is letting air out so it sink.
No, manatees do that.
Oh, okay.
But it could be that too, so it could sink down. But manatees blow as whether just to see what you're doing as a defensive noise. Manatees just do that all the time.
Yeah.
So the Greenlandic sea cow. It's the wrong ocean, right? Possibly the most recent report comes from a video made during the early 2010s, claiming to a population survived in Greenland. However, this is considered unlikely because these creatures were only ever confirmed in the Pacific, nowhere near Greenland in the Atlantic. Further, these pictures don't reveal much. These kind of look like giant sea cows to me. If you told me this was in Florida,
Yeah.
I'd tell you these were manatees.
Okay.
So if they're in Greenland, Stellar Seacows. But it just shows large, slow humps, no dorsal fins, not very fast coming in and out of the water. It seems to be 3 animals. I remember I'll try to post either a picture or a video to this. These could be seals, rocks, or whales. They don't have to be sea cows. To me, I could definitely see the thought that these being sea cows. Cryptozoologist and author Lauren Coleman has explained that the Atlantic sea cow sightings, he suggests that their range extended east into the Arctic archipelago, the Baffin Islands, the Hudson Bay. Although there's not much evidence to suggest this given claim, I will dispute that here in a second. In order for the example of these number of sea monsters, such as resembling overturned boats, tend to be crashing into kayaks very slowly. According to Dale Derman, reports of similar upturned boat-like sea creatures have emerged in the Chunkin and Leviathan seas, closer to the sea cow's known historical range. Upturned boats, however, can still be caused by multiple factors in the sea that are large animals, for example, orcas and other large marine animals in the area. So manatees like to bump boats as a behavior.
Yeah.
They'll mess with you and stuff like that. And they also look like an overturned boat in the water.
I could see that.
Yeah, I've seen it. No, I've seen them in the St. Johns River, and I thought it was somebody's like John boat that flipped.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's bad because a lot of alligators.
And then this
And it's
manatee.
like a manatee goes and then sinks. But yeah. So what are your thoughts so far?
What are
I have a lot more.
Stellar sea cows like cold water?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they were seen up the Bering Sea is some of the coldest water on the planet.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
But they probably had warm water in open ocean counterparts.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know why can't the ones in the Pacific also be in the Atlantic? Why?
They weren't ever seen there as far as documented.
Right.
There's
yeah.
nothing. There's no barrier besides South America.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like if they're there, why not be in all the oceans, especially in the northern Arctic?
You know what? You're 100% right. Most large marine animals are in every ocean.
Right. Right.
Whale sharks. Almost all species of whale are in all oceans.
Right.
Or can be in all oceans. The Mediterranean's kind of the
Wow.
sea, but
Yeah.
that's, you have to kind of swim around to get in there.
Yeah.
The Indian Ocean, which we'll talk about, has a long history of what appears to be. They also have manatees there. They have the same or cousin species to the ones in Florida in India.
See, they're everywhere.
But we'll talk. Yeah. So let me read you some reports. This comes from the Field Guide to Lake Monster Sea Serpents and Other Mysterious Denizens of the Deep by Lauren Coleman. I have that book. That's my favorite, my famous sea monster book. There's Stellar Seacow allegedly washed up on shore in Cape Chaplin, on the north end of the Gulf in Manatee in Siberia in 1910. In the middle, so the first thing is that they said it was a giant manatee washed up in Siberia.
Yeah.
They're like, it looks just like a manatee. It's huge. 1910.
Huge.
They didn't know it was a manatee, but pictures and people carrying the accounts are like, that sounds like a manatee.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they just had this big body wash up in Siberia. In the middle of the 20th century, a harpooner reported regularly seeing 32-foot long finless animals not far from the Bering Islands in July of every year. So this guy harpooning whales professionally would see this other finless animal, this huge 32, 33 foot long, every July coming through the Bering Islands.
Ooh, like it was a breeding time.
Yeah, or migration patterns or whatever.
Yeah. Same difference.
Yeah. So they would have that happen every year. Let me get to my next one. The crew of a Russian whaling observed a group of what appeared to be Stellar Seacows in 1962. The Russian fishermen walked. This is one in the book. They literally watched a pod or a family group of these animals in the open ocean going through. They described them as being very slow and lumbering. They were not whales. He said we were a whaling boat.
Yeah.
Whales knew what a whaling boat was. They had got the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah. But this is probably Russian disinformation, you know? Like any of that makes any sense.
Yes.
Sorry.
Now, and a Russian fisherman walked up and touched a live sea cow in this is some Russian word, Antonapkinry Bay.
Oh.
There's like napkin is in the middle of the word.
There you go.
In the summer of 1976, though many have thought that this was a stray northern elephant seal. I don't think it was because he walked up and petted it.
They don't like being walked up on by humans?
Elephant seals will murder you.
There's giant blobs.
They have cutting teeth inside their mouth. They will murder you. So there's a lot of reports of these, especially in the northern and southern seas, like these really far ends. There seems to be a lot of reports of these giant, into modern day. You know, that was in 1962, 1976. So there's a lot of these sightings.
Yeah.
And this guy walked up in the ocean, was petting this thing,
and then it
started moving away.
It was like just like a manatee.
Like a manatee.
Yeah, because manatees are very different temperaments.
And finally, a sea cow skeleton was supposedly found on the Soviet Islands in 1983.
Dang, these are so recent.
Oh, I got more for you, baby bird.
Oh, okay. I keep going then.
You ready for this one?
Yeah.
What have I told you? That Washington State, 2006, they hundreds of people saw a giant manatee in the ocean.
Live specimen?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What'd they do?
So this is an article called "A Manatee Off Our Coast" by Chinook Observer of Long Beach, Washington State, September 13, 2006. Captain Ron Marsall is going to be the guy we talk about. But dozens of people seen this.
But not just him.
Yeah. There have been some unusual sightings and catches along the Washington coast this summer, but none more bizarre than the sighting of a manatee. While trolling for tuna on course parallel to the Big Dipper about 40 miles off the coast, I received a radio call from the skipper and another charter boat captain. The skipper, from whom I gave a great deal of respect to as a fisherman and a straight shooter, who wishes to remain anonymous for fear of being put in the straitjacket or sent to the loony bin. He says, "Did you see that thing? It was a manatee. It was bigger than a sea lion. It was probably between 15 and 20 feet long. At first, I did not know what it was. But as we cruised closer to take a look at it, I looked straight in its eyes. I knew exactly what it was. It stayed on the surface for about 2.5 minutes, unafraid, and then slowly slipped back into the deep. When my brother, and who was also on the charter boat, and I got home, we immediately got to our computer and pulled up pictures of manatees, and it was the same mammal that we saw that afternoon. I will remember this until the day I die for what it was, a manatee."
That's pretty powerful.
So this is the Chinook Observer, is a magazine up there. But anyways, a bunch of people reported seeing this thing. Mm-hmm. This large manatee, this is a common fishing area, and anybody that's unfamiliar with charter captains and stuff like that, they all fish the same areas.
Right, yeah.
It's a business, right? We know where the fish are. We all are going to go fish the same area. So this line of boats kept passing this manatee. With just out in the 40 miles out in the Pacific Ocean.
So I see
manatees are not fair.
Right.
So they just keep seeing it, and everybody's like, "That's a manatee." This is 2006. You know, it's not that long ago. You can pull up a picture
Less
of a
than
manatee
20
on the
years
internet.
ago. Yeah.
Like you can see a manatee, even if you.
Yeah. You're about that time. Maybe not in your pocket, but a cell phone wise.
I was pointing at my phone like a phone, but no, you can. Like he said, he got home and typed into his
typed
computer.
it all in.
Manatee.
Made that dial-up noise.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you think of that one?
That's pretty, like I said, a pretty powerful observation, or for multiple people, and then. Even though he wanted to remain anonymous, which I get it, especially 2006, maybe nowadays that they wouldn't hide their identity, but attaching a name to it's pretty powerful.
So zoologist Brendan Heuvelman, we talked about him a lot on this show for
Sounds
these
familiar.
last years, was one of the first to recognize the fact that Stellar Seacows may not be extinct. More recently, mainstream scientists have cited the field guides, such as marine biologist Bert Wasserman and James Parsat of the University of California have noted that there's a vague reports of Stellar Seacows from along the northwest coast of North America to the northeast coast of Asia and the Arctic oceans and in Greenland. If such reports are not discounted, that there may be a subspecies of these animals still alive today.
Save the manatees.
So, where could these things be hiding? Everything I just told you, these are giant, slow animals. These aren't whales.
Wait, you just named where these things are hiding.
No, so think about it. They are herbivores.
Yeah.
These aren't filter-feeding whales. So right there is a big problem.
Okay.
The open ocean is generally, there's no plants.
Right.
So if you're a supersized herbivore, you need these grass beds. They are very rarely now being seen along coastlines.
Okay.
Extremely rare. These kelp beds, these giant kelp forests, are traditionally heavily fished. People would be seeing these. They don't care that they get seen. Even if they're kind of skittish at people, they're slow.
Right.
So where are they hiding? Why are we only getting these little sightings are just not enough for a population?
Okay.
Any thoughts?
I'm thinking maybe they're eating, maybe they switched their diet from plants to like algae or plankton. They're eating from the Arctic, full of nutrients up there.
So no, they're still herbivores because their face is still like they're highly adapted to degrades.
Well, didn't we just discover one of like the largest grass beds in the ocean?
You got it.
Yeah, nailed
Let's
it.
talk about seagrass meadows.
Okay.
All right. So where have they been hiding? Why aren't we seeing them on the coastlines anymore? And what's this up with the subspecies everybody keeps talking about? It's the ocean one. It's the open ocean one.
Yeah.
So there's these giant, and I mean truly giant islands of seagrass meadows that most of the time they're 20 to 30 feet deep out in the middle of the ocean. We just discovered the biggest one in the Atlantic Ocean because we hooked up a camera and a tracker to a hammerhead shark, and he made a beeline like 400 miles off the coast.
Yeah.
And it would make no sense for a giant Atlantic hammerhead because they're not generally open ocean animals.
Right.
They're highly adapted to feed in sand off the bottom, hunting animals underneath the sand. And then we found a giant seagrass meadow. We also just found one that was the largest single organism as by distance. This one is over 200 miles across this one strain of seagrass.
That's pretty big.
If you look, and I kid you not, I'll try to remember to post pictures, at where these documented seagrass giant beds are and where the Stellar Seacows are still being sighted, they're within a couple 100 miles.
So it's a lot of overlap.
It's a lot of overlap. What I think, especially in India, out in the middle of the Indian Ocean, there's just giant, and I mean, we're talking thousands of feet of depth
Yeah.
than these old volcano caps or whatever they are.
Pop up.
Yeah, and they're shallow seagrass meadows that nobody can get to. They're in the middle of nowhere. Most of the time, we don't know they're there.
Yeah.
We avoid them for shipping because you don't want to hit an island bar.
Right. Yeah.
So what I think is happening is these guys are the subspecies. We killed almost all the coastal ones.
So they're just going out and feeding on these areas.
They live there.
Because it's safer.
The ones we are getting are the ones that when the populations start bolstering, what happens is it's called satellite animals. They go out and they try to find new habitat.
They explore.
And they're going back to their cousins' habitat because there's food there. And we're just kind of getting one here, one there kind of deal.
People are seeing them, yeah. Every now
and it's just one or two animals or maybe three animals like the Greenland one because there's a bunch of these in the Atlantic. And they're getting in maybe the jet streams and kind of cruising for a while and, getting off where it's shallow.
Yeah.
And then they're probably being, unfortunately, preyed upon predators because they're single animals. They're probably, most of the time when we talk about these animals that leave traditional homes, they're juvenile males.
Yeah. They get pushed out.
Yeah, they could still be falling prey to orcas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
For example, Trunco.
Poor Trunco.
Was a giant marine creature with a trunk. The only reason that the witnesses never said it was white and hairy, it was the carcass that washed up the shore. But this animal with a trunk fighting 3 or 4 orcas that was just a little bigger than these orcas may have been a juvenile male Stellar Seacow that got pushed away from his family trying to find new ground.
Fighting for his life.
Yeah. Well, he didn't win.
Poor guy.
Didn't win. Have I convinced you they're still around?
Oh, I believe they are. I would 100%
Not too bad for doing this like last night after all the frustrating stuff.
No, I think I'm with you on this. I think very well could be around. It's in places we don't necessarily study or explore too much. And the fact that they're still up to 2000, what'd you say, 6? It was
2000. There was one in 2012 too.
Jeez, okay, that's extremely recent. So yes, if those are true sightings, if those are true accounts, that there's something out there. It may not be a Stellar Seacow, but it may be another.
I think giant Seacow, yeah. Because I think there is. I think they just are hanging out in these giant. I mean, like I said, some of these are 200 to 300 miles wide. The one that's one living organism is 114 miles across.
That's a lot of food.
That's a state.
Oh yeah.
That's a state. I mean, Ohio's only 250 miles across.
What? No way.
From corner to corner?
I thought it was like 400.
Oh, maybe if you do it the longest way possible. I'm talking from like once you get to Michigan and get down to Cincinnati.
Maybe. Yeah,
I think
maybe
it's like
it is.
250 miles tall.
Yeah, maybe it is. Man, okay.
So if you have a sea meadow that's 200 miles wide, that's a state that a whole population of these guys could be living in.
That's
so
quite the range, yeah.
We do not understand very well. We do not get to these to study very well. It's very hard to get to them. And once you're out there, you're kind of stuck.
Right.
So it's super hard to research because you're either in a giant oceanic vessel, but you can't get close enough because they're normally going to be surrounded by barrier islands and stuff like that. Then you got to get in a little dinghy and hopefully not die.
It's just like that game Subnautica. They need to make like little underwater bases out there. I'm sure we already got them. Shoot. What am I saying? They're already there.
For public scientists.
Yeah, true, yeah.
So, what do you think? I've asked you once, but I'll let you talk now.
I think they're here.
I've been excitable.
I think they're still there. I'm with you. I think they're still seeing them.
Maybe that'll be a future shirt. Save the Seacow.
Save the sea cows.
This will be me riding a 50-foot long manatee.
And like we regain the bond again.
Mm-hmm.
He's not scared anymore.
Mm-hmm. And we're sinking on a Japanese whaling boat.
We're fighting off Japanese whaling boat from the back of a Stellar Seacow.
Has a turret on it.
Yeah. That's the new shirt.
Swim, Bobo, swim.
If anyone can draw that up, please. I'm ready to see it.
I have been the great and powerful mystery.
And I have been J Clone. I forget.
It's okay.
Together I'm the forgetful clone.
Corn Podcast. We can't wait to see you guys next week.
Bye.
Hey guys, thank you for listening to Cryptids the Corn Podcast. Remember, the best way to support the show is share it with a friend. But if you are craving more of the J clones
And more from Mr. E.
there's always extra content on Patreon.
And our paid member space on cryptidsofthecorn.com.
We'll catch you next time with more exciting, fun, and informative information. Bye.